Skyfoxes. Meta Skyfoxes are attacking first. It's their map choice. Gator, he's not worried at all, man. He's just keeping warm here in the chilly, climb of Russia. He will be looking for that early Primal Rage charge, though, which is why he's held up close here on the choke, looking to Tesla Meta Skyfoxes as they come back in, saving that jump for when they collapse on him.
Winston's can develop Primal incredibly quickly onto this first point, but Gator was hacked, and so he's got to try to get back to his team, and he does, so he's not going to be able to develop that Primal Rage percentage that we're used to on these first pushes for that defense, and he's just going to take the lay of the land, get onto the high ground to see where Skyfoxes are, because they're not really doing anything either. They are finally turning that corner, and Funny Astro's going to get bonked on the head by some balls. Meta Skyfoxes are now going to have that member advantage. I'm going to fix that one day. Atlanta Academy now already losing 2 members. Lastro really opening it up.
Yeah, exactly. Every now and then you just get those fragging Zens that, I mean, balls, one of the biggest causes of death here in Overwatch. And Bird, where he was able to do that same thing for Atlanta Academy on Eichenwald. Lastro now returning the favor. Atlanta Academy in very dire straits here. Funny Astro, because he was the first to fall, will not have sound barrier. Bird's going to need to use this nano offensively so Gator can take some space, because Meta Skyfoxes, they're coming into the tools they need to just snowball this whole map.
But is that going to be what we're going to see here? There's 6 minutes and 38 seconds for Meta Skyfox, so they got plenty of time, they got plenty of resources, and Atlanta Academy aren't going to have a ton for themselves, but the EMP came through. Bloods was able to develop that EMP in time, and Meta Skyfox, they're looking at a very quick first point, or second point here on both sides.
And they will be capturing this entire point in no time. Sometimes it just happens like that. You hate to see it, but you lose that point A so quickly. There's almost no chance for you to hold against a well-coordinated team on B. Orthic popping that rally, just in case. You never quite know a sugar-free. Gonna send Meta Skyfoxes flying, but not enough of them.
That's got to be up there for quickest we've seen all season. Yeah. Over 6 minutes, 61 seconds to be exact. And we can't undervalue that volley coming from Lastro. He got that first pick, and after that, it was so hard for Atlanta Academy to stabilize.
I mean, there are entire OWL teams built around their Zen just getting picks. NYXL, right? Just play long enough and Jonak will kill someone. So it's certainly a viable thing, and, Meta Skyfoxes happen to just find that early frag courtesy of Lastro. Atlanta Academy themselves now must also complete this map in order to keep Meta Skyfoxes from finding that early lead here, 2-1, because again, this is a first to 3 series. So
Atlanta Academy already on the back foot because of that time bank coming from Meta Skyfoxes. So with over 6 minutes left, Atlanta Academy are forced to try to match that tempo. And sometimes when you're trying to match another team's tempo like that, you end up making mistakes that you're not used to making. But there are a couple things that led to Atlanta Academy ceding all of that space so quickly. It was Gator standing in the front getting hacked, and then not really being able to get that Primal Rage up in time. We've seen Winston's get Primal Rage within that first lane, right? Within that first location. And unfortunately, Gator wasn't able to do that. Then we've got, I believe it was Funny Astro gets picked off by a Lastro volley, and that was the story from there on out.
Exactly. Meta Skyfoxes didn't make it easy for Gator to find that charge either. They went straight to the objective. So Atlanta Academy going to see if they can match that same aggression and pace on their own attacking phase. Bud's going to know exactly what they're rolling out with. Might even go for a cheeky early hack here. Why not? Keeping Bird from being able to rejoin the rest of his team, forcing Hawk to use Matrix early on. This is all just good micro plays that will add up.
All is going according to plan for Meta Skyfox for the time being. Atlanta Academy going to be switching some things around. We're going to see Sugar Free on that Pharah, Saucy on the Tracer, Gator on the ball, and Bird and Funny Astro also repping that Anna and Mercy, and they also have that first pick. Gator getting an initial pick onto Bud, so Meta Skyfoxes now do not have a full 6-member team. Atlanta Academy are also going to be really good at funneling certain members and isolating certain members with the team that they do have right now. They've got the Tracer on the ground and the Pharah in the sky. What year is it as Atlanta Academy do find 2 more picks? This is their point, but the one thing about this comp is there's not a ton of presence. The only one who can really stay on the point is Gator, and so there is an opportunity for Meta Skyfox to kind of play around that. Atlanta Academy do get the clean white though. They are going to get their res off onto Sugar Free and go into D with a potential barrage after some poke.
They're gonna swap up though. Feels bad, man. Hey, maybe if Hawk had the EMP, we could have seen EMP into Barrage. A girl can dream. But unfortunately, Clone Man right there got pile-driven by Gator immediately and taken down by Sugar Free's Pharah. It's a lose-lose situation for Meta Skyfoxes. So now Lastro on that Ana, potentially expecting that Pharah to come in, but would be a good pick against Hawk Sombra as well.
Funny Astra's also taking very low. If that fight had to hide it away, but the Skyfoxes are going to use that EMP, and Atlanta Academy are going to be unable to match the timing. They're close to doing it. 6 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock right now. The EMP is going to be enough. Atlanta Academy are going to have an EMP of their own, though, from Hawk coming through on this next push.
Oh no! Oh, funny Astro. But Atlanta Academy do have tools now for this re-engagement. Gonna be it's gonna be a tough thing for Hawk to match the quality and caliber of Buds' Sombra, but definitely doable. He already has the EMP at the ready. Throw the nano onto Gator and just let him go to town. You might even put it onto Saucy, get him closer to that grab so you can match phases. But since Atlanta Academy don't have any support ultimates online, they may well just lose this out with the grab.
Hacked, so they amp it up. Is it going to be available? It's going to continue to be hacked for that extra speed, that extra healing, and the wall riding not there for Meta Skyfox. Kills now coming from Atlanta Academy, and they're so close to actually tapping this point with a good time bank of their own.
Exactly, a couple of members left here for Meta Skyfoxes, but Atlanta Academy are going to be able to win this out as long as they can maintain this. Oh, Clone Man taking a CS at the very worst moment possible. And that should be a map completion for Atlanta Academy. No grab needed.
Yeah, Clone Man, a little bit of quiet man right now in this last 2 maps, but everything can change. They do have 6 minutes on the clock. There's a little over 5, I believe, for Atlanta. Oh, a little under 5. 4 minutes and 57 seconds left for Atlanta Academy, and that's not terrible. It's still more time you get at the beginning of this map regardless. Meta Skyfox, though, are gonna be on the defensive side as they do have more time on the clock. Atlanta Academy have to do exactly what they just did one more time.
It's very difficult, even though you're playing the same compositions time and time again, to just maintain that mental focus, keep up that endurance, not to give mistakes and unforced errors over to your opponents, because at this point, all of these teams very experienced in that mirror goats composition, and they're going to be looking for those occasions where they can punish you.
So I've always thought this, but you're seeing Sombra's hand right now. It's really off-putting for me. The way that it just like kind of hangs there when she hops.
It looks like, you know, the frill on one of those spitting lizards.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, it totally does, like from Jurassic Park.
And so Buzz on the Sombra has done pretty well for himself. Atlanta Academy still really trying to figure out exactly how to deal with it. They've done it a couple times, but it hasn't consistent. I've liked Hawk on this Sombra so far as well. They're going to be repping the same compensation the last time. We might be seeing them come back to spawn after seeing it, but this worked the last time they were there. Let's see if Gator's going to be able to have that point back around and capture this point a little bit.
While Buds can certainly hack Sugar Free and ground him, you know, this split up comp is not going to be quite as vulnerable to that Sombra as a Death Ball, but Atlanta Academy actually would just prefer the consistency of having those 3 tank ultimates up at, you know, various times. So, you know, we're going to see them swap onto that Goats comp again. And hello, beautiful people.
Hello. You caught me like mid-mouth stretch. That's how I call that. Yeah.
Exactly. You're stretching. Is that your general stretch? You mostly just stretch your mouth through eating, I'm guessing?
I mean, I do eat a lot of food. That is for sure. But let's talk about this game,
yes.
right? Because this game can go either way at this point. And what we're seeing right now is Meta Skyfoxes and Atlanta Academy having those offensive pushes done really well, right? And are they going to be able to repeat that, right? Something that we've said all season is defenses can be hard to find. That's been, you know, a note that we've been singing for 8 weeks now, right?
Exactly.
And
it's a middle C.
Yep, the team C4, the team that does
C9?
get that, the team that does get that defense going is going to find themselves behind. We know that both these teams have potential for offensive, right? If they can push through, they both can finish that last match very, very quickly. But in the end, right, someone's got to win out, and it's got to be through that defense.
Yeah, somebody has to be able to hold. If you can at least show both sides of those looks, then you're doing pretty well.
And so now that we'll get you an update on the game here very, very quickly once we do have that ourselves. But let's talk about Buds a little bit, right? Because I think when you think of Skyfoxes, you think of Buds first. Or most of us do, and that Sombra. And how do you think that's going so far?
I don't know. When I think of Skyfoxes, I definitely think of that half-naked dude riding some kind of creature abomination that have been dreamed up from, you know, the fantasy dungeons. Anyways, but I also think about Buds. Yeah, I also think about Buds though, because he has just been like that player that is like, well, we'll just play goats against them, but you can't. It is not going to be vanilla again tonight for dessert. It's going to be some kind of crazy salted caramel cheesecake because there's a Sombra in your backline, right? You can't ignore that threat.
So now that we're going to also be looking at Atlanta Academy, how do you like to talk on the Sombra? You know, a lot of the time we do see Divas go away for the Sombras. We did see Kepster, DPS player on Sombra a little earlier today. There's not always that Diva player, but it is really nice to have that Diva player able to rep themselves onto that Sombra as well.
Exactly. Like this has been actually pretty surprising that Hawk Sombra has been as competent as it has, because it's not a look that we've seen him play very often. You know, and Bishu also a Diva player who threw that Sombra out occasionally in the last couple of weeks, and you can tell that these Divas have been, you know, staying on top of the changing meta. Hey, this now is just going to be a hero that you'll have to pull out every once in a while. We want to keep the Zarya, and Diva's going to be playing that Sombra, just like DPS players have learned to adapt to the Brigitte.
And so what's kind of like your gut telling you for this match, right? You've got 4 minutes, 57 seconds, a little bit less because they did start their second offense, and 6 minutes and 10 seconds for Skyfoxes. Is that a little bit closer than the time things really say? Or do you think that 6 minute, you know, that minute advantage for them is going to be enough? I mean, that is another fight.
Yeah, it is another fight. I think it will matter in the end, because both of these teams are actually playing very closely in terms of the way that they approach these fights. They're not playing a very patient game. They're just barreling in, seeing if they can get a pick. If they die, whatever. We're just, you know, rinse, repeat, go again. But, you know, if it does work out as it has on, you know, both sides across the aisle on multiple occasions, then hey, we've got a pick. We know what we can do. We can keep this pressure going on.
Yeah, so it looks like we got a little bit more time. So something I'm really curious about is what was the inspiration for your hair today?
Oh, well, so you may have seen on Twitter that, you know, I look a lot like Toad, and that's actually not what inspired my hairdo. It was actually because I really enjoy looking like a ventriloquist dummy, you know, bow tie, striped shirt and everything, and it's kind of just, you know, part of that getup. I was never able to really leave my family and join the circus like many of us dream in our younger years. So yeah, exactly. So I'm just, you know, acting out now at, you know, the ripe old age of 27.
Ripe old age, I mean,
it is. It really is. I mean, this is over the hill for us.
I know, right? I'm even older than that. I'm married too. Do you believe that?
Oh,
I know.
I feel like exactly. Keep dreaming.
Exactly.
Keep dreaming, kids.
So let's talk a little bit more about Overwatch, because we do have just a little bit more time. Sorry for those of you at home, but we did see Fusion University of Montreal Rebellion a little earlier today. We saw Gladiators Legion also upset Mayhem Academy. Going into the final, do you feel that Gladiators Legion had an opportunity down? Because something that's really interesting to me is we got to cast that game. It was honestly one of the best experiences of my life, casting that Fusion University Gladiators Legion game a couple weeks ago.
Hype,
it was 5 games. It was like 99-95 on the 3rd round. That was almost the first time Fusion Uni didn't lose, but they didn't. And so now Gladiators Legion are going to come in, and it was 5% that separated them from, you know, 29-1 instead of 30-1. And so do you think that that's going to potentially bring them over the, you know, bring them over the hump? Because Montreal did push Fusion University to those 5 games.
I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, the way that Gladiators Legion have been playing so far, I would be scared, right? This is a team that's leveled up consistently throughout the later weeks, when a lot of, you know, when it certainly looked like they could have been very easy to discount. They barely squeaked into playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And now they're really making a go of it. So
well, Bishu played out of his mind today, as well as Luddy too. There are a lot of really good boop bomb combos. Bishu having, whenever you see the diva push off that mech from the high ground, super steeply,
exactly.
right? You can get low to, false. Oh, they self-destruct. I don't see it. Where is it? And all of a sudden, it's right next to you, right? And he did it twice.
The other thing is he did it twice and caught people with it both times, which is the crazy part. I mean, we see divas try and go for those kind of sneaky plays. Gods was able to nudge his mech behind like the wall of Horizon Lunar Colony and find a kill earlier in the season, but it's so hard to execute, right? It's just like when you see Lucio's booping Reinhardt's out of the way. Just boop them out of the way so the shatter can come through forehead, but it's so much easier said than done. A lot of the times you can't really, if you're not 100% confident, 100% familiar with this hero, you know exactly how far this beep is going to go. You know exactly how much a baby diva's body bumping will, nudge this exploding mech. You're going to miss the timing. So.
Yeah, and so also, how awesome is it to see Bishu successful here in Contenders, right? He was an amazing presence on Los Angeles Gladiators in Overwatch League. We all heard about how important it was that he spoke Korean and English, bringing the team together. They found success when he hit his health problems, right? And
yeah.
I understand I have some stomach issues as well, and so I know how hard that can be. It can absolutely wreck your life and make the comeback, right? And the other thing about stomach stuff that people really underestimate is the anxiety that really comes through with that. It's you don't really ever know when you're gonna feel better, right? And if this is gonna stop. And so now it looks like we are gonna be getting to the game here very quickly. But one of the things I thought is, Bishu, you're a good dude. I'm so happy that you're being successful and you had yourself a day today.
Exactly. So now let's see if we can find.
And so now that we're still trying to get this game to come back on for you, we're just waiting for that cue from production, and we'll be getting there soon. But yeah, Bishu, really awesome. Bloody, very, very awesome to talk about the other game now, Bishu University of Montreal Rebellion. Something that we kind of touched on the, before our Envy game was Montreal Rebellion next season.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. And so let's go ahead and check it for ourselves from that visual here. And so Atlanta Academy looks like they did only get 1 point, and then Skyfoxes only got so they're going to be going through. They've already gotten 2 minutes off the clock, so Atlanta actually putting in a pretty good defense. We come in with 3 kills now from Meta Skyfoxes.
Oh.
That are going, Skater going to keep it for the second point. Meta Skyfoxes looking really good to capture this point A and roll into point B soon.
Exactly. Hawk takes the short dive off a long cliff, and righteously so. You don't want to feed any more ultimate charge to Meta Skyfoxes, who already have such an ultimate advantage. You have Mac nearly there with that sound barrier and the grab ready for phase. So Atlanta Academy again looking down the barrel of a very deadly gun. Buds is already in the back line looking to be that obnoxious Sombra and try and keep Funny Astro from getting that sound barrier.
And so now Atlanta Academy they can't give up 1 pick. But is it going to be enough? ENT goes through. A couple members of Atlanta Academy are already hacked. Funny Astro getting 2 kills. Was that a boot kill? I did hear some screaming in the background. At least worth it was a boot kill. So off the back of some environmental capabilities coming from Funny Astro, Atlanta Academy looks like they will keeping their hopes alive here on Volskaya.
Oh, that was really close. Funny Astro couldn't find line of sight onto 2 of his the members of his team, but he caught enough, and along with those boot kills, Atlanta Academy can again just breathe a sigh of relief, for they have held for now. But Meta Skyfoxes have all the time in the world. Literally one of the best ways to just go in here, bank up 6 ultimates, and blow them all at once. There's almost going to be no way for Atlanta Academy to react to a full 6-pack being thrown their way.
And so Meta Skyfoxes have 2 minutes and 51 seconds to go up and try to get themselves match point. Is this going to be the push? It doesn't look like it will be, as Atlanta Academy have what they need. They do invest the Nano, which pushes Meta Skyfoxes away from the objective, but is that going to be enough for the next fight because they did invest that nano. Meta Skyfoxes can be a little bit more confident coming into this next engagement. They don't have to worry about a souped up Gator. Saucy is hacked, so it's going to take a little while longer to get to that Graviton Surge, but a nice pick from Sugar Free means Meta Skyfox is going to have to try one more time.
Oh, Meta Skyfoxes, they looked hungry for that engage, so thank goodness Sugar Free needed to find a pick, or Atlanta Academy needed to find some kind of kill there to force Meta Skyfoxes back. It was just lucky, fortuitous that Buzz was the one who did fall, so that's a slight pause on the EMP generation for now. And Atlanta Academy will now have a few more seconds to try and get Funny Astro up to that sound barrier. This is a pretty big gamble because while the nano is very good for enabling your tanks, and sound barrier can certainly save some low health teammates, all of those overshields will be nullified by the EMP. So if Funny Astro uses this sound barrier in response to phases, Clone Man's, or somebody's ultimate, Buzz can just come in here and nullify the whole thing.
Exactly. We're going to see 4 members are hacked, but Saucy is able to get that grab, so the follow-up to the EMP is going to be much harder if you're locked in that Graviton Surge. But now the Earthshatter's coming through. Are they going to get Gator out before he's able to use that Earthshatter? The answer is no, as Hawk also getting that kill onto Clone Man. This is still a really close fight for both teams, but Atlanta Academy finding themselves the victory in at the end. It started off with a 1-for-1 trade, but Atlanta Academy did a little bit better job capitalizing on Meta Skyfox's positioning there.
Exactly. Buzz EMP not finding the same dividends that he had been earlier in today's series. And now Meta Skyfoxes looking at a possible draw here if they cannot complete this first tick. Atlanta Academy, they've beaten back the waves, the hordes of Meta Skyfoxes so far, but now they're down to just Funny Astro's sound barrier, which again is very vulnerable to Buzz's EMP. He's already 75% up to yet another one.
Yeah, and there's 33 seconds left, and that's plenty of time for a couple of these characters to develop those ultimates on both teams. Bird so low, the utility pack had to be invested in it. Deanna, the Gator, though, going to get that first pick before the sound barrier can save more things. So Meta Skyfox are already coming in here, down a member in Atlanta Academy, trying to win this out, but Matt going to get 2 kills. It's a 4v4 now, but the defensive spawns are going to make it very hard. EMP hits every remaining member of Atlanta Academy. Do they have enough to actually get the kills? They do get one, but they're actually falling victim instead to Atlanta Academy. Is Matt going to get slept? This is looking closer and closer to a draw.
Clone Man charged in there so deep, expecting that his team would follow him up, and they did, but Atlanta Academy were able to react in time. Clone Man is the one who falls first, and we will have a draw, ladies and gentlemen, on Volskaya.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
And so it's going to stay 1-1. Remember, draws are just mulligans. So we're going to go into our next map 1-1 as well. But there's no better way to define exactly how close this is. We did see a ton of offense going through, and assuming since we didn't get to see that Atlanta push, they didn't get a tick on second. They had 4 minutes and 57 seconds. Skyfoxes didn't get a tick on second. They had 6 minutes and 1 second. So defense is showing up strong when it was necessary. No wins for the map, but both teams should feel really good about the defense that they put up on those second pushes, because that easily could have been like a 6-6 Volskaya, but instead we have a draw at 3-3.
We just saw a 6-5 Volskaya yesterday in quarterfinals. So it's certainly possible. Atlanta Academy and Meta Skyfoxes do have to, pat themselves on the back for a good defense, but, just keep that mental game going on strong, because with that draw, that means that we have to go through at least 2 more maps before we do find that winner of this semifinal series. 3, whatever the rest of the score may be. Volskaya can be one of those very draining map types because of those, every single fight is one of those dedicated team fights. We got to all be on the same page, engage at the same moment. Ultimate timing has to be on point.
Yep, so we are locked into a map 5 already, so there's no question about that. We are going to see control, which will most likely be, it will be a match point for one of these teams, as it's very hard to tie on Escort. And so I believe since it was a draw, the person who lost the second map still gets to choose the map type. And so I think this is still going to be Skyfox's choice, and it's going to be on Rialto.
Rialto, we've gotten a taste of this map earlier on in today. Very, very difficult map to push if you can't get past this second stairway. But of course, you got to get through that point A hold first. And this map actually acts, kind of like a hybrid map, as we were discussing a little bit earlier today, because of that massive courtyard and the advantages to the defenders in that initial spawn.
The defensive spawns are pretty close. And so you'll assume that, the payload's super, super close. But because there are also so many turns for the payload to go through, it extends the time of the payload going through the environment. We do call Rialto the land of right angles. We've seen light posts, we've seen corners really just come out and surprise members of these contenders teams, because in terms of map geometry, Rialto is one of the ones where it really affects your playstyle the most.
It's much more tricky. You have to constantly keep your eyes peeled. And Atlanta Academy are going to be holding with Bird on this Ana once again. And, not a terrible choice at all, because Bird is a very capable Ana, has found some incredible sleep so far, but it does mean that you're giving up the chance for a transcendence. And the Skyfoxes themselves, not sure if Clone Man's going to be giving Baptiste a roll out of spawn, most likely going to see that Reinhardt.
And so we've seen a lot of teams pulled up very, very close, but this time around we're going to see Atlanta Academy seed that space. They're going to be looking for a fight very, very soon, it looks like. As Bud's going to have to translocate. He's actually vulnerable right now, but he's not going to get away. They decide to leave the Sombra alone. He's going to be hanging out on the high ground, peppering in that damage already at 50% pretty much. Not going to do much for Atlanta Academy either. Really, we're just kind of see this payload slowly move through as some post.
Yeah, this first corner is the big question. Ooh, Bird eats a massive fire strike to the face, but he does manage to land an anti-nade, so that's 75% up to the nano already for him. So Atlanta Academy, they're going to be comfortable holding this corner for as long as Meta Skyfoxes will allow them to. Meta Skyfoxes are the ones who do need to make that first engagement. Atlanta Academy aren't going to be looking to push their luck.
Well, they do have the Nana, so if they're going to make that engagement, it's going to be right here and right now to push Meta Skyfoxes further back. EMP going to be going through that. Seems to surprise them just a little bit. But the Nano comes through onto Gator, and so the one person that you really want to get through when you get that EMP without that shield is not going to die, but Clothman going to follow that up with a beautiful shatter. Meta Skyfoxes are going to make it through this first corner, but Atlanta Academy will be able to defend here if they get back to the point in time.
Might have been a really nice bash setup around the corner by Orthic. We'll give him the credit right there, because it was such a clean shatter. Atlanta Academy will have the chance to hold once again before point A is captured, like in a hybrid map. So there still is a chance for the defenders, but they will be grabbed most likely by FaZe.
And so Sugar Free going to be escorting the rest of Atlanta Academy onto the payload, and Meta Skyfox smartly ceding that space. That's something that we've seen a lot more often as the rally goes through, and then the team that doesn't have that armor just waits until the armor goes away, and now the grab coming as well. Funny Astro, the only support ultimate that they can use, because there isn't a Transcendence for that Graviton Surge, and it will work, and now the Transcendence will counter Meta Skyfox's Graviton Surge, and the Self-Destruct is not going to find anything. Earth Shatter now might be what Meta Skyfoxes didn't need in this situation, because they are already down a member. Hawk taking Buds out of the map, very close to another EMP. Atlanta Academy now invested a ton into that fight. They are further away from it. Their ultimate, they need to hopefully stop this Buds EMP, but this EMP is looking stronger and stronger the more you look at it.
A really nice sleep by Bird as well, just to make sure that Atlanta Academy will stay alive while they clean up Gator's Earth Shatter. So Buds now will have this EMP. Hawk has actually chosen not to stay on the high ground in order to try and zone him away. Rather, he's sticking with the rest of his team. Atlanta Academy might just be resigning themselves to getting EMP'd and rather trying to keep Bird safe so that he can nano Gator again, keep that front line alive like they did in that first hold.
Yeah, there's less than a minute left already for Meta Skyfox. Push. They got to make something happen right here, right now. The EMP going to knock 4 members and have that hack go through. 2 members already down, 2 with ultimate. So that was perfect placement coming from Buds, and Meta Skyfox is trying to capture this first point.
Bird and Sugar Free got caught in that EMP, so very little that they could do there to try and keep that defense alive. Positioning is key anytime you're playing against a Sombra, not just, oh boy.
Tactical crouching, I love it.
Exactly. Crouch and run away. Got to stay alive for that full 6-man regroup. But again, Atlanta Academy this time around not really able to react to Buds. They do force the translocate this time around, but they're in no danger of being EMP'd.
Already close to 50% on that EMP, so he is going to have it in no time. Contenders to start things off, and this is a nice up-tempo play coming from Atlanta Academy, and it's going to work out another save, and some knees working as well. Love it. Meta Skyfoxes are going to get wiped.
Bird, you know, sometimes you just gotta assert your dominance with a tactical crouch.
Yeah, you gotta crouch in order to make your eggs warm.
Exactly,
right?
You're just warming the nest.
Yep.
But now Meta Skyfoxes are down an EMP, but they still have other tools aplenty. Atlanta Academy, though, do maintain control of the stairway, this high ground, which is so difficult to get through for the attackers. They need to fully dislodge Atlanta Academy, otherwise they could just go for another up-tempo play and catch Meta Skyfoxes with their pants down.
Yeah, you really need to try to get that momentum back if you're Meta Skyfox. If you took so much time trying to capture that first point, you have less achievements already as the hack is going to cancel the Earth Shatter. Some good stuff coming from Buds one more time, but no casualties for Atlanta Academy. You want more out of that EMP other than that canceled Earth Shatter. Gator going to feel really good and souped up because of that Nano Graviton now coming through. There's a 5v5. Trade tails going both ways. Bud's going to have to wait a little bit longer before you can develop another EMP. And now it's still jostling for position. Meta Skyfoxes have made it onto the payload. Atlanta Academy going to go ahead and give them a little bit more space. Sound barrier is there. Earth Shatter not really doing much from Gator either. Hawk so close to getting demeched. They have to stay on the payload though, so don't forget about that, as Atlanta Academy are going to have to try to defend at the very end here as Meta Skyfoxes do make it past the hardest point here for the offense.
That was a little bit awkward. Clone Man was slept, but Gator still unfortunately couldn't find anyone with the Shatter. Hawk is no luckier with that self-destruct, and now rally pop by Orthic trying to urge his team forward, but in the meantime, Buds has fallen once again. Brilliant adaptation from Atlanta Academy. This is now the third time that he has been caught out by Atlanta, whether by Bird, Hawk, or a charge from Gator. So this is really good adaptation. Meta Skyfox has got to start looking elsewhere because they're down to 35 seconds.
We've actually seen this with Buds before. It was Eichenwald, I think 2 weeks ago, where his team had a huge ultimate advantage and never got to use it because he died 2 times in a row, giving the opposing team time to come back. Are we seeing that right here? And right now, maybe just a little bit, as Atlanta Academy is still looking good. Good charge from Gator. It's a 6v5. The Nano was used. There are no resources available for Atlanta Academy. Gator will get another Earth Shatter. Meta Skyfox have a Shatter and grab their own, but are they going to be able to make it to the payload?
Oh, Gator is so lucky. He manages to stay alive, but he's getting taken low. The armor pack is already gone. He shatters. Oh, doesn't catch anyone here. Hawk is also hacked, and that is a real Charlie Niner, folks.
Oh, Bud's unable to touch the payload. They were so, I think, tunneled into getting through that room. They lost track of how much time they actually had, or maybe Buds didn't, was trying to get to that EMP a little quicker, did a little bit too much damage, and the time it took to turn, get onto the payload, it was already the end of the round. And so Meta Skyfox is 98.62 on this Rialto round, and when you lose a round like that, that's tough to come back from mentally. Let's see if Atlanta Academy are going to be able to just drive that knife a little bit deeper, because in this situation, that's exactly what they have to do. Don't let them come back. You can't be nice, right? In this situation, you got to be as mean and as aggressive as possible. Keep them on the back foot. Make them think about that last play for the rest of this series.
Exactly. If anybody's not yet seen Game of Thrones, well, you want to do a little bit something like that. That's Atlanta Academy's goal here. Just drive that knife in deeper, especially after a very grueling, long, taxing Volskaya round. You come up with just a draw, and now you haven't really even made it to that second point. So Atlanta Academy, they have that win condition already laid out for them. As ZP says, the golden box of victory calls, it beckons. So they can now use that knowledge, that information to meter out their ultimates. Hey, it's okay if we lose this next fight. As long as Meta Skyfox is using ult, we have more. We only need 5 more meters. So that's going to be what's on Atlanta Academy's mind, and hopefully also, a little bit of backline protection, because Buds is already on this Sombra scouting them out.
Well, and then the other scary thing for Meta Skyfoxes here is they have to put almost everything they have on taking the time away from this first point. So if Atlanta Academy are able to grab this first point quickly, they're going to be set up so well to better than Meta Skyfoxes on their offense. Not going to get stunned. Is he going to die? No, he does survive. The utility pack has been used, so it's going to be unavailable for someone else on Meta Skyfoxes. The cooldown will be available by the time this next engage happens.
Atlanta Academy right now are just rotating upwards, building up that ultimate bank ever closer to those all-important ults. Bird 35% up to that nano. Meta Skyfoxes themselves have actually already been forced back beyond this initial corner, which is the most comfortable place for the defenders to hold.
And so we're going to see Atlanta Academy drop down from the high ground and take this fight on the courtyard. Cloman already below half health. The support utility needs to go on him. We haven't really seen the barrier just yet. Cloman is going to get stunned, and there it is. There is that utility pack, so it's going to be unavailable for him once again, and it's the only burst healing you really have right now if you're Meta Skyfoxes, who aren't going to be close to that rally, but the EMP coming out from Meta Skyfoxes gets 5 members, but the Nana is going to keep Gator alive. Doesn't matter that he's purpled. He doesn't take as much damage because of that Nano. That's a beautiful response to that EMP. And now the Graviton Surge from Meta Skyfoxes. They're trying everything right now to keep Atlanta Academy from this first point. Atlanta Academy hasn't really invested a ton, and they know that Meta Skyfoxes are investing on their side, so they're going to feel really confident when they do engage once again, because Atlanta Academy will have an ultimate advantage.
Oh, grab comes out from Saucy. Gator is laid low by the shatter from Clone Man, and Lastro again fragging out for his team. Bird manages to find the body of FaZe, but it's not going to be quite enough. Meta Skyfoxes win out the war of attrition.
And Skyfoxes, they used everything that they had at that moment in time. They didn't get anything out of the shatter. They didn't really get anything out of the grab. But in the end, they got Atlanta Academy back to spawn. And Atlanta Academy invested their ultimates because they had the hope of potentially pushing through.
I mean, the Nano was a good choice from Bird, but Atlanta Academy was unable to maintain that momentum. And oh, that's a full 6-man.
6-man hack. It's hard to come back from that. Meta Skyfox is also going to win this out, but when you use EMP, that means the other team is not using their ultimate, so they're going to come back exactly with what they had last time. It's just a reset fast forward, and it's going to be the same kind of thing for Atlanta Academy, knowing that the EMP is not going to be available this time around.
Yeah, Atlanta Academy now can press forward essentially with impunity. Buds can't really do anything against the onslaught of tanks. Atlanta Academy don't have a grab at the ready, but Hawk could just go with that raw bomb.
Rally's going both ways. We're going to actually see this armor make use of itself in the self-destruct. Earth Shatter is there, but no kill. Soundbearer not going to hit everyone at Atlanta Academy either. It's a funny attribute, but it's got more value out of that. It seems going to be taken very low, but is somehow still alive. Meta Skyfoxes definitely have a better position right now in this fight, but not for long, as Earth Shatter is going to be coming through along with the Nano, so Gator can feel really good about going into the opposing team, and he can swing and develop that Shatter even more during this Nano, but he's not going to confirm any kills because there was a Transcendence on the other side that is going to allow Saucy to get this grab off for free, because there are no support ultimates for Meta Skyfoxes. The Buds does have another EMP, and here we go. 5 people do get EMP. Sugar Free is down. Saucy is down. Funny Astro will be down as well, and there's 16 seconds left. They did not think about that Buds EMP. You know, a lot of people might have said, oh, he developed that really, really fast, but I think with Buds, just how this goes, you have to expect that your opponent has what they have.
Yeah, EMP every single fight, and no, Sugar Free cut down in the prime of his life. Not going to be able to touch the payload, so Meta Skyfoxes find the win here on Rialto and go up 2-1 against Atlanta Academy. Atlanta Academy, they just, they were adapting so well to Buds' Sombra earlier on when they were defending, but unfortunately, when it was time for them to attack, they didn't quite seem to have that same focus. We saw, some really good plays, the Nano going on to Gator to try and enable him to go forward. There was actually a sleep onto Clone Man as well. No charge came through, though, no anti-nade to try and force, Meta Skyfoxes back. Maybe a little bit of breakdown in terms of communication for, for Atlanta Academy, because they had a lot of really great setups, but unfortunately the follow-through did not come afterwards.
So Atlanta Academy are going to be able to pick this next map, and it will be Control. So Atlanta Academy need to win this if they want to force a 6th map, which we haven't seen so far here in the playoffs. So it'd be exciting to see for sure. I think it's another Control map, and it will end on that 6th map regardless. but we have to get there first. Skyfoxes played very well the last time we saw them on Control against Atlanta Academy. Gator couldn't really get anything going on the Winston the first time around, but then he really came back strong on the second map. And, it's been pretty, middling in the middle of the group for the last map on Rialto and Volskaya. The Reinhardt's doing, the Reinhardt thing. There's not a lot of things to really point out, but now that we saw Skyfoxes hold that defense on Rialto in Courtyard, it's so good to see that defense going, and Buds of Sombra is once again causing Atlanta Academy some problems.
Yeah, this is shades of that week 1, day 1 game between these two teams. Atlanta Academy are really hoping for a different result, though, as we head into Nepal for our first of the extra control rounds here in Map 5. So Sombras can certainly get a lot of work done, especially on places like Village and Shrine. Maybe a little bit less likely here on Sanctum, where we might see, some bunker comps. We've seen Roadhog, we've seen Hanzo. I'm just spitballing here. But in all likelihood, these two teams are just so strong at GOATs. There's not really a big reason for them to swap off of those comps. So it'll all come down to execution and timing.
Even though they might have already gotten the practice in, and this is the new patch coming in here for the playoffs. The big thing that is, I think, like the biggest difference between these two teams from their week 1 game is that Atlanta is really just showing up here, right? We talked about how badly they lost in week 1. It was utter destruction.
It was a paddling.
And this has been super close. It's unfortunate that they did get held on A, because in terms of momentum and going into this controlled map, it's hard. You just lost that map, right? It wasn't like, it's hard to overcome that feeling sometimes. And now you're going to be coming on Control, a map that you did already lose this series. And so you can't get that out of your head. We talked about that, Charlie Niner a little earlier with Buds missed the payload, didn't get onto the payload in time, and Atlanta didn't quite, put that dagger in like I really, really wanted them to, right? They let meta Skyfoxes come right back in, use those ultimates, and they just took those ultimates, and then they never pushed forward, right? And exactly. I think that's something we need to change, because that's more glimpsing of that first week than our second map today.
Exactly. It's one thing to, even things up. We've survived the EMP, but then how do we press our advantage once this EMP is off the table? And that was kind of where Atlanta Academy fell apart, had a lot of openings. But, hey, past is the past. Again, just wipe the slate clean. This is a new map. We're going into Nepal, where once you capture that first point, you can essentially just play the stalling stagger game. One pick is going to be enough to force the enemy team back, against, sans some kind of crazy scenario. So that should be, what Atlanta Academy focus on.
Yeah, there's actually some pretty crazy statistics that if you are able to take the first point on Control, you have a
70% chance.
You have an obscene advantage, and Village on Nepal is one of those that gives you a ton of advantage. I think for that specific map, the statistic is the team that captures the first point is like 80% likely to win that round, and that is a huge advantage. So these first point takes are incredibly important. Yes, it is not the end all be all for the teams that lose out. We do see it change a lot, and things don't agree with those statistics, but in the end, the majority of the time, the team that takes this first cap gives themselves that 20-second advantage, give themselves that 30%, advantage, as each percent is a second, right? And then you got cushion, right? So you can come back and take that advantage before the opposing team can do the same to you.
Exactly. And if you win the fight, you get more ultimate charge. So that's even more cushion for the push-in. And that's what, both of these sides will be having in mind as we open up here on Sanctum first off. So this is when we start to see a lot more of those, off meta comps, a little bit more of that flexibility. Meta Skyfoxes themselves not going to be, trying anything too crazy. They're just going to swap onto the Winston Goats look. Atlanta Academy for themselves also going to be running the same. I'm really curious which way these Winstons will be going. Buds, are you for reals, man? I've been debate so many times.
Here we go. Yeah, so we're going to see this Doomfist from Buds. Guy can play Doomfist, that's for sure. And so Meta Skyfoxes don't know this is coming yet. So we have a surprise Doomfist capability. We've also seen a lot of Winstons get booped off in that same exact position, and they now know the Doomfist is there. He does make contact only with one of his cooldowns. The Overshields makes this Doomfist like an off tank. And so he can be super beefy, but the big thing with Doom is you have to make contact with those cooldowns.
You must land your combos, otherwise you are a sitting duck in enemy territory, and instead of helping your team, you are now a liability and taking resources. Ooh, Gator gets stunned up here, manages to stay alive. A deep dive in from Cloneman, but Mac is the first to fall.
Oh, good purple going on to Atlanta Academy this time around, giving Meta Skyfoxes a chance to try to come back here, but that's not going to happen as Meta Skyfoxes were able to grab the point, grab a couple percentages, but really Atlanta Academy grab it in the end. Doofus not working out so far.
Atlanta Academy aren't going to be a statistic this time around, as Bird taking a well-deserved nap. He was the first blood, found the first blood for Atlanta Academy. Buds, though, 67% to the Meteor Strike. This is a great combo with the Graviton Surge, the Space Jam, as we like to say. And we did see XL2 work the Doomfist with some success yesterday. So, worth another shot.
And this is the patch where Doofus got those bucks, and they're going to nano the Doofus. He's going to be super beefy. He can actually stay in these fights a little bit longer. He's got the Meteor Strike to avoid the self-destruct. We're going to see this used offensively. We saw Steely on the Doofus use that very defensively, but we're seeing Buds go into the battle. He wants to make contact. He does get those overkills. Look at that 382 HP with the armor. He has to, again, try to get something going, because if they're able to get that pick, Meta Skyfoxes, it's so hard to overcome that advantage. Get that 6v5 and that 6v4. The sound barrier is there, but not in time. Atlanta Academy are still looking strong.
Exactly. Buds there was trying to 1v1 Hawk, and in the meantime, it was Gator Primal Raging on the point, taking all of the rest of Meta Skyfox's attention. And despite Lastro's best efforts, Meta Skyfox is falling to pieces on the objective. Nice sleep once again, but that's not going to help Meta Skyfoxes flip this point at all.
Yes, and Atlanta Academy are pretty much one fight territory here, as they will enter that magical 80-85%, and usually that means they only need to win one more fight to capture the round. Meta Skyfoxes have to win every single fight from here on out.
Yeah, Saucy could actually just grab them right here in the choke. Meta Skyfoxes don't have anything in order to survive this.
But do they know that? All right, they do, and so the Graviton Surge goes out. Meta Skyfoxes are going to be racing to try to hit overtime, but they're already down 2.5 members with FaZe out of that mech. This is looking good for Atlanta Academy. They're primed to go up 1-0 here on Nepal. Meta Skyfox trying to make things happen. A Primal Rage is how you do it, but for Cloneman, not this time around. Some loots from Gator. We'll see you on the next round.
See you later, Gator, he says. But unfortunately, that Doomfist did not work out at all. The swap onto Zarya at the very last fight, you know, better later than never, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough for Meta Skyfoxes. They do have some room to work with since they are up a map, but you do want to take Atlanta Academy as seriously as possible, because this is a team that can definitely take that momentum and just run with it.
Yeah, Bud's unable to get anything going on in the Doofus. You really need to get that pick in order for it to work, and it's also a character that you gotta like be feeling, right? If you're just not really doing anything, it's time to just get off that character, because if you're forcing it, then you're forcing your team to deal with it as well. Bud's was making that contact, was trying to be the off tank, but the rest of the team was trying to enable him as well, but in the end, not really working because the picks weren't there.
And now it's going to be a little bit more of the conventional look here on Village, as both of the teams look to pressure this point immediately.
And they're going to meet each other and engage right away, so we're going to see these ult cards inflate here in just a second. Really look at those Reinhardts to see who is being that aggressive Reinhardt for their team. Right now, it's pretty even, and the point's going to open up here in just a second. They are going to fight on the objective proper, and then it's Skyfoxes this time around going to get the better of Atlanta Academy, as we do get a pause, as there is a disconnect for Atlanta.
Oh, a little bit unlucky.
Feels bad in this particular situation.
Yeah, this is not a neutral fight at all. That could certainly explain why Sugar Free went down. Atlanta Academy dealing with a couple of technical issues here, but Gator was the first to fall. So anytime you lose your Reinhardt, you've basically lost the fight. And Cloneman is going to be able to get a lot more charge here and put Meta Skyfoxes in a pretty comfortable position once we get back in game.
Yeah, and so if there's a consolation for this disconnect, Gator did die first, and so maybe the utility pack could have helped, but most likely with Gator going down, Skyfoxes were going to win that point outright, and they will be doing that after we come out of this pause, most likely with a 6v4.
He just got tripped up, man. Corners. Like, what even are they? Reinhardt's worst enemy.
Got super existential there for a second.
I know, right?
What
It's like
even are
corners,
they?
number 1, stairs, number 2, and then we got like walls and assorted doorways.
Yes, exactly. And this is a big deal for Atlanta Academy as well. They are down on match point. If Skyfoxes do take the next 2 rounds here on Nepal, they find themselves in the finals against Envy, and they are guaranteed at least a shot at the showdown, because if you make it to the finals and you get second, you're going to play cross group and region. Both second place teams will play each other for the 3rd spot. That's a play-in game for the second place teams, and you have to get to the finals first. Atlanta Academy a little bit further away right now. They're trying to change their fortunes. Skyfoxes, though, definitely on top on this fight.
Up, and we are back in game. No surprises here. Meta Skyfoxes clean this temple. Temple, I would assume. Atlanta Academy, gotta make a re-engage.
It is a village. We do have an actual map named Shrine coming up later. So.
A shrine, a temple,
Yeah.
It's different, it's distinct. Words matter, Boop.
It's true, words have power. Meta Skyfoxes now looking at those ultimates. They're coming up on pretty much 4 of them, 5 of them. But Buds is able to get to that grab quickly. Atlanta Academy, though, will have a Graviton Surge. There is a Transcendence coming the other way, or if they're going to use that rally, that's just 5 percentage points for Meta Skyfoxes.
Totally
as
worth.
Atlanta Academy are going to be coming in as the armor dissipates from Meta Skyfoxes' health bars. It will be happening here very, very soon. Damage mitigation is very nice when you get to use it. Graviton Surge now is going to be locking up from Meta Skyfoxes. There's a grab coming the other way as well. Usually the second one is going to come up with a little bit more, but not this time around. Self-destruct is nothing, so we're seeing one of those classic ghost fights. Now the Earth Shatter, that's where things might happen. Perfect timing from Funny Astro to save Gator, but is it going to be enough? Some Meta Skyfoxes also getting taken very low, but Atlanta Academy has to come into the point. It's already 50% for them, and they come in, and they're going to take down Meta Skyfoxes here and flip it.
Sometimes that good old vanilla Overwatch is all you need. Clone Man unable to weather the damage, he and his shield cracking under the pressure from Atlanta Academy. This is now a pretty comfortable position for our white team. We have the grab very close, and Hawk already with that bomb in hand. Will it be a big one though, or another goose egg is the question, as Meta Skyfox is not beating around the bush at all. They want to make up for that lost time, head straight onto the point.
Cool, they've got Rally. They also have the sound barrier. They're going to get close to that trans because Lessard just does that, and he's going to pass Bird in terms of that ultimate charge. The Graviton Surge is really bad news for Atlanta Academy, as we were just talking about that trans. When you get grabbed and there is no trans on your side, you're at an immediate disadvantage. To be on top of that, there were no support ultimates at all for Atlanta Academy.
Exactly, and Meta Skyfoxes knew it. They smelled blood in the water, and so Buds, there was no reason not to throw out that grab. At least see what you can get here. Now Meta Skyfoxes will be buoyed by those 4 check marks. It could not be more back and forth between these two teams.
Meta Skyfox only need to win 1 more fight. The Earth Shutter's going to knock 3 onto the ground from Meta Skyfox. The support ultimates are layered and both miss Forthic. And so that's really bad news for Meta Skyfoxes. They invested both support ultimates in that 6v5. They're not coming back, but at least they are going to have time to develop those ultimates once more. Support ultimates are quicker on the uptake, but Atlanta Academy also have 5 ultimates of their own. They're going to maintain this ultimate advantage for at least the next 2 or 3 fights. I don't really see Meta Skyfoxes competing here until overtime.
Exactly. Atlanta Academy have bought themselves a lot of wiggle room. As long as they can continue to meter these ultimates, if Sugar Free props this rally, Meta Skyfoxes back off. That's a 1 fight for Atlanta Academy.
And you do see Sugar Free use that rally. There is a self-destruct from FaZe, and trying to be a hero does not work out, and now he's separated away from the rest of his team along with Mac, and that's just a pretty bad fight now from Meta Skyfoxes. Investing another ultimate, trying to make something happen. That might bite them in the end, because both of their supports not, getting close to 50%, but in a fight like that, you want Lessard to be at 70 to 80 at this point.
Exactly, and Grab Bomb combo is one of the only ways to win a fight cleanly against a team that already has both of those support ultimates on hand. And Meta Skyfoxes have just turned back the clock. Now they're going to have to wait not only for Bud's grab to come back up, but FaZe's self-destruct as well.
This is going to be it for both of these teams. Meta Skyfoxes want to remain in this game, but they don't have any ultimates to do it. Bud's grab needs to be absolutely enormous. Will be getting to that Earth Shatter very soon, but if he's on the grab, they need to support either. There isn't a trance until right now, and it was so close to saving Knack, but this is still at 65. It is not over. Skyfox could get a pick here. They do have that rally, but no, Bird is going to get Clement without that Reinhardt and that Brig. Atlanta Academy are going to be taking us to map 6.
Atlanta Academy clawing it back from the Meta Skyfoxes. Whew! This is so back and forth. They look like an entirely different team from what we saw on Rialto. And remember, Meta Skyfoxes won our first control round hands down, easily, no problem. But on Nepal, somehow, maybe it's icy, snowy, cold, they didn't bring their jackets. Something about this map just tripped them up.
And so we're going to find ourselves, I think, in our first map 6 in NA, at least for a while, definitely this season. We're going to take a quick break before we get there. We'll see you soon for the conclusion of this series. History has been made, my friends. This is the first time in North American Contenders history that two teams are going to need the extra of the extra innings. Who needs Game 5? We're here on Game 6. The reason why we got here, let's talk about that just real quick. They drew on Volskaya. Both teams actually had an immense amount of time in their time bank to try to get 4 points, but neither could. They both ended at 3. Here on Rialto, Meta Skyfoxes played very, very well. We got that defense going. And then on Control, it was the other way around. Atlanta Academy is the one that really had Skyfox's number. Buds tried the Doomfist, and that just put them too far behind on that point. We've only seen the Doomfist work really 1 or 2 times so far here in North America. We know that Doomfist goats can work because of China, and a couple other teams have been able to utilize it really well. But so far here in North America, that has not been the case. But we're casting history right now. You guys are watching history. This is a map 6 on Lijiang. We've seen all 3 control maps today, and this is going to be the last map we see. Remember, the finals are on the line between these two teams, Meta Skyfoxes, Atlanta Academy. This is the last game. This is the play-in game for the finals. This is some good stuff, HamTornado.
Exactly. Both of these teams so back and forth. You're hot and you're cold. You're yes and you're no. A little bit of that NRG feel right now. But Atlanta Academy and Meta Skyfoxes, they just got to play their own game here. It's been Mirror Goats so far. But on Lijiang Control Center, this is where you can start to see things like Reaper, May.
Don't say that.
You can dream. I mean, Meta Skyfoxes definitely went out there with that Doomfist pick early on, and it did not pay off. So they are just going to hedge their bets, go for that more traditional Goats composition, and the same for Atlanta Academy. This is for all the marbles, folks. If you do not make it to the finals, then you're not seeing that Atlantic showdown in Krefeld, Germany. So both of these teams now got to transport themselves back to China. This is where the staging grounds are, and Gator immediately eats a big fire strike from Clone Man, and Bird!
Atlanta Academy starting off so strong right now, 6v5 against Meta Skyfoxes, and look at Meta Skyfoxes, their health bar so low. At this point, to see that space, you're just feeding ultimates into Atlanta Academy.
I mean, Clone Man was probably hopping back as fast as he could, and Atlanta Academy just not giving him that space. Okay, Bird has been a revelation for Atlanta Academy. He is another one of those Second Wind alumni who have now made it onto a different team. He has found First Blood twice now in the last 2 games.
And so Gator and Clone Man are going to play Ring Around the Rosie in front of the pillar in the middle.
Pocket full of hammers.
Pocket full of hammers. We all don't want to fall down, though. The Earth Shatter can change that. Gator going to have that Earth Shatter. 3 members fall onto the ground. Bird going to get another First Blood. That's 3 for him if you're keeping track. And Atlanta Academy also going to maintain a nice advantage in those ultimates for the time being. Meta Skyfoxes are going to get close to theirs. Actually, there is no advantage because this next fight might be 5 ultimates for Atlanta, 6 ultimates for Meta Skyfoxes. If FaZe is able to really make things go on this team, that can happen.
It could certainly happen. Atlanta Academy do want to play a little bit more conservatively. They're not going to take the more riskier chokehold here, even though they do have ultimates online. Not that crucial grab, though. So Buds and Saucy both racing towards that unwilling hug.
Oh, was Orthic's rally canceled, I believe? Oh, no, I don't think. It was very interesting as the voice line did not finish out, but the rally did go through. Stuns now coming as well. Atlanta Academy in complete control. That Animal Triumvirate, Hawk, Gator, and Bird. So good for Atlanta so far, especially the last 2 maps.
Atlanta's been a menagerie of damage so far. The Rhine that shatters afterwards usually does get a better look. And Bird throwing out that Transcendence, he was able to stay out of range of Clone Man's initial shatter. And once Meta Skyfoxes invest, they commit, they go in, that's when Gator turns the tables on them, finds a beautiful shatter of his own. And now Meta Skyfoxes down to their last chance to flip this point.
We have raced all the way up to 92% for Atlanta Academy, and they still maintain the advantage. Bird once again getting First Blood. 65 now for Atlanta Academy. They're going to wrap this up. FaZe getting that self-destruct kill does make things a little bit more interesting, but Atlanta Academy just have too much health, have too much at their disposal. Bird also has another Transcendence, and so they can take whatever Meta Skyfoxes throws at them for the next couple minutes. We're not going to see minutes, we're going to see seconds because this overtime wick
Bird
will be ending here soon. Atlanta Academy just have to clean this up.
And they will do so. Bird is the word. Man, Atlanta Academy not even letting Meta Skyfoxes sniff the point that entire time. We did have Skyfoxes Lucio coming in with that back attack, trying to get the boop on to allow for that self-destruct to come through, but unfortunately didn't really pay as big of dividends as they would have hoped. Right now, Atlanta Academy in absolute control here. And I don't know if Bird's going to stick with this Soldier 76, but they have some wiggle room to play with here, up one round.
It's actually something that you could, theoretically run. You could theoretically run 5 supports as well. But in this situation, Atlanta Academy are feeling it right now. And if you're going to pull out a little bit of cheese, now might be that time. And they are definitely looking at multiple DGS, and Bird will be coming out with that Soldier 76. Funny Astro switching over to the Mercy after giving the amped up speed boost to the rest of his team. Let's see what Meta Skyfoxes are going to do here. Are they just going to change their team comp as well? Oh, maybe they're going to be forced to, because Mac's going to get donked with those rockets.
Oh man, rockets straight to the dome. Not what the doctor prescribed. Meta Skyfox is going to make some quick changes here. Lastro onto the Moira to better survive the barrage from above, but that means that Atlanta Academy are going to take this first capture. And with so many mobile heroes, Meta Skyfoxes have quite the task cut out for them in order to just clean up all of the members of Atlanta Academy.
We talked about the fact that on the solo tank, Atlanta Academy doesn't have a ton of point presence, so they really want to take the fight outside of the objective, because they're not really going to do much if they're fighting within it here, because the whole point is to separate the team, and Sugar Free is going to separate the team by pulling one of them back into spawn, and Buds is just going to get taken down on this grounded Farah. We do see some tactical crouching on the Lily Fusion. That's the next level tactical crouch. Oh my god, Sugar Free, where were you on this Farah all season? Oh my goodness.
Sugar Free, he don't need no sky wings to fly here. Meta Skyfox is the ones getting those wings clipped. Barrage now available. Valk, Pulse Bomb, EMP. Atlanta Academy have a very well-stocked war chest, and Meta Skyfox have really yet to make it onto the point unscathed. Lastro, though, will have this Coalescence, a really good power burst to try and cut this bird out of prey out of the sky.
Saucy did use the Pulse Bomb, did not find a kill from it, and they must know, Meta Skyfox, that this Rocket Barrage is coming, so they gotta be positioning themselves accordingly. The EMP comes through. Oh my god, that positioning was so good with that concussive grenade. Getting into the mix after the EMP, knowing exactly how to utilize this character. Atlanta Academy, you should run this Farah a little bit more often. I know it's good on this map, but Sugar Free is having himself a game.
Exactly. Oh, Meta Skyfoxes now find themselves without Coalescence, without really any time left. Atlanta Academy, again, just by sticking to their guns and playing disciplined, you wait for the EMP first, then you barrage and Sugar Free finds Buds yet again.
The 65 Meta Skyfoxes haven't had a full team pretty much this entire round, as now the Tactics Visor comes through. Not really going to get any kills, but the Tactics Visor really good because it separates the focus. It can discombobulate the rest of the team. The self-destruct will be taking Bird out of this fight. EMP is going to make things a little bit harder for Atlanta as well, but Sugar Free is still getting those kills on the ground. Atlanta Academy are going to be punching their tickets to the finals if they get this clean up, and they do almost get it with Sugar Free making it through. If someone's going to kill Sugar Free this round, it might as well be himself. Atlanta Academy still on the brink. Meta Skyfoxes don't want this to end. That means that their time here on Contenders is over, as well as Hawk going to be using that EMP. Meta Skyfoxes need a miracle here, but I do not think they're going to find it, as Atlanta Academy so close to the final.
RN Jesus does not hear you. Clone Man finally with the first primal rage of the round, and he primals himself all the way off of the point. Atlanta Academy, make it into the finals, taking down Skyfoxes.
6-game set. They win it in the end, 3-2. We had a draw on Volskaya and Atlanta Academy. This is like the redemption arc for them. They had such a rough start to the season, and now they find themselves punching their ticket to the finals to face Envy tomorrow. What an amazing game that we just saw. Bunch of really good games today. Gladiators upset. Montreal and Fusion go into game 5. This one go into game 6. That really tells me that these finals